Welcome back to Coach's Corner. On this segment, we're talking with head coach Wendy Landes of the Pohai cross country team. And Wendy, thank you for being on Coach's Corner.
Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us. I want to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about. You've added a meet, a couple of opportunities for your athletes to get out there and get some time out on different courses. Frontier, you added Frontier. That kind of takes care of the Enid contest that didn't happen.
Yes.
There's also another meet that's been added to the schedule, and of course the Ponca City meet that's coming up on October 15th out at Lake Ponca. So we have a lot to talk about. Before we get to that, last Thursday you took the junior high and high school cross country teams over to Owasso, the big Owasso meet. How did your athletes do?
They did really good. I had a lot. The course is really flat, so we were hoping to get some better times than we had. In the previous week, we went to Hennessy, and our varsity boys won that meet, so it was pretty exciting. And so we come into Owasso, where we're running against the 6A teams, and they finished like I wanted them to. They didn't get the placings that they wanted to, but they ran together. Every division had some really good times, a lot of time taken off. At this point in the season, you want to see those times keep decreasing, and they just keep doing it every single meet.
Very, very good. Well, fantastic turnout there.
Yeah.
Now, originally there was not a meet scheduled for this week, but that changed. Tell us about this, please.
It did. About 3 weeks ago, Mr. Levitt came to me and sent me an email saying that we were invited to a conference meet. So we had joined the Big 8 conference, and they sent us a formal invitation to come run there this Thursday. And it's being hosted in Putnam City, so it's in Bethany. We've ran the course before. We're familiar with the course, so we're excited just to run against those specifically in our conference this Thursday. And it's high school only, so it should be pretty good.
Fantastic.
We're looking for some good placings.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this: how this extra opportunity? How does that prepare your athletes as they head into not only the Ponca City meet, but regionals and eventually state?
The more teams we can see in that 6A and run against, the better prepared we are. If we can see those schools that we know we can run better than and just kind of keep chipping away at them, that's what I like. I like to run against the 6A teams that I know we're going to see at regionals. Right now, I don't know where we're actually placed at. We haven't did the rankings. That's due next week. So next week, we'll actually get our regional placing. But I'm excited for this conference meet because they're mostly, we're in the same conference with Enid. We have the Putnam City schools. We have Midwest City, and I believe Choctaw. So we have some really good teams in that conference that our boys may or may not have, and our girls may or may not have ran against yet, but get another opportunity to just run 6A. The meets that we've been to so far are mixed up 4A, 5A, 6A. So you kind of have to pull out who you're running against, but this is specifically just 6A. So that makes us a little bit more geared up before we go into our meet next week, Frontier, and then regionals is the 24th. So
yeah, well, let's talk about the Ponca City meet. Now, this is an opportunity for everyone in Ponca City to come out and support the Wildcat cross country runners. And we only get one opportunity a year here on the course out at Lake Ponca. Tell us about that and how important that is for your athletes to see a good hometown crowd.
We don't get a lot here in Ponca City as far as for those individual sports. There might be a golf tournament or two, but to have as many supporters come to a meet, it's hard because we always travel so far away that we only get a few moms that go with us and a few people cheering them on throughout the crowd. But if we could get the community out there just to support them along the course, we've redone the course a little bit this year as far as the 3 mile. We have some different guidelines that we have in place for safety as far as COVID. But if we could get those people out there to join us, it does a world for a runner that's like at that point to where they think they can't run anymore. For someone to know their name and to cheer them on, it gives them that extra boost to get where they want.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I've got to ask, because I'm asking all of the coaches about COVID and the precautions and losing athletes to, close contact quarantines and things like that. How has the Pohai cross country team fared through all of this?
We're battling. We seem to lose a couple and then they come back, and we lose another couple and they come back. And so I'm always having to rearrange the teams, and we don't have a lot of girls as it is. And so it's been a struggle to get a team, but we're making it work. The the different guidelines. I think they're just getting used to just having the mask on as a permanent fixture, whether they have it on their arm or one over one ear as they're running. But the different guidelines have made me feel safer to take kids to different environments, because a lot of schools are implementing those, and we'll have those as well on our course for spectators and for the runners to keep them as safe as possible.
Yeah. Now, athletes, as a coach, you see them out there working hard. They're out there running. They're getting the runs in, even when it's not a meet. I mean, they're out there always working. You see that. You see that what the numbers they're putting up and the times that are going down during these meets. As a coach, can you give a shout out to some of your athletes where you've really noticed not only improved times and the work ethic that is required for the sport of cross country, but they're also exhibiting the Wildcat way?
Absolutely. You know, when I look at the girls team, I have 7, and then I have 2 that have come off injury. So if I had to give a shout out to a specific girl, I'd say all of them, because they're either overcoming quarantine, they're overcoming injury, or they're overcoming something to stay in there. And their times are getting better. They feel like they're not progressing at all because they're not getting the places that they want, but they're all exemplifying to me what it is to stay in it even when it's really hard. The boys team, that varsity team, keeps switching around so much that we don't know from week to week who it's going to be. But, I have some really good leadership in Mason Blahoyak. He's coming along right where we need him to. I have some senior leadership that are injured, that are cheering on their teammates, even though they can't run. It's a really good group of kids this year that are more into lifting up their teammates than so much, where they're placing. They like to win and they want to win, and they're geared up to go to state. That boys team is. But last week at Owasso, during the JV race, we had a injured runner coming in, and he was running towards the back of the pack and he was hurting. And all of those varsity boys found him on the course and just got him in. They jogged beside him, they walked beside him, they cheered him in until he got to the finish line. And that to me was more than any plaque that you could give anybody. That right there, getting a teammate that was injured and obviously hurt across the line and not letting him stop and motivating him, that's the Wildcat way to me. And I that's what I like to instill in athletes. It's not about that medal. It's about, being the best person you can be while excelling in that athletic sport.
Wow, so well said. Coach Wendy Landes, our head coach of the Pohai cross country team, our special guest on this edition of Coach's Corner. Frontier got added to the schedule 2 days after the Ponca City meet. Frontier, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
It is.
Tell us about this opportunity for your athletes, because this was kind of an unexpected surprise.
It was, I like our athletes to get the maximum amount of events they can every year. They can run 8 and then they get regionals and state. And it's hard when they run 6 or 7 because, we're just running more practices, and Frontier's been on the schedule. It's always been close to our meet. A few kids have always just went and ran as individuals, but I thought, you know what? We could actually run this meet and give all those quarantine kids an opportunity to get an extra meet. Because when you miss it and you don't get a chance. Like the junior high can only run 6, the high school can only run 8, but when you're quarantined, you just miss. And so they're not getting the full amount. So Coach Others and I sat down and we thought, we can do some good at Frontier, and it'll be good course. It's flat. And really keep their motivation up as we go into that next week headed towards regionals. So Frontier is just 2 days after our meet, and it's literally 15 minutes away. So hopefully we can get more Ponca people to come there also.
Yeah. October 24th, the regionals. And then on October 31st, Halloween, the state tournament. So what is the path to state for the Pohai cross-country boys team?
We go to regionals on the 24th. Everybody goes to regionals. And if you're in that top 7 team placement, you automatically get a bid to go. So it's the top 7 teams and then the top 7 individuals after that per regional. So there's a region for this side of the state and a region for this side of the state. And they haven't given us our pairings yet. So we don't know who we're running against as of yet. But we're gearing up to be team placers this year, not just individuals. We want the whole team to go to state this year. So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And not to single out the boys, you have more boys than girls on the cross country team. On the girls' side of things, how are they looking as they make their way into regionals?
They're good. The good thing is I will have it, barring that nothing else happens, all the quarantines end before regionals. And so I will have a complete team where we can actually time trial and get the top 7 to go. And they're still motivated and overcoming, but they're fighting through it. And they want to go just as bad too. You know, they keep asking me what it's like to run and go to state and do different things. And it's a feeling, so you just can't describe the feeling. It's a great feeling to go run at the state meet. And they want that, especially my seniors, they really want that experience. So they're motivating each other, they're helping each other overcome injuries, and they're staying fun. And that's what I want to preach. Stay fun. Don't take it so serious. You get inside your head and then you don't do good. Make running fun. And I know people that are hearing this are probably like, running's not fun. It can be.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah.
You see some of your younger athletes coming up, especially the junior high ranks, and they get a chance to go to some of these meets and run the course. They're
Hmm.
as far as seeing some of that younger talent coming up, the future of Pohai cross country, what does it look like to you?
Really good. Um, the eighth grade group is small, but they're all extremely talented. There's literally two girls and three boys, but they all run really hard. But when you get down into that sixth and seventh grade, where I have 30 plus athletes,
Wow.
um, they love it. They're ate up with it, and they do what they're told, and that they are motivated and they love it. And so that's the key thing, is if I can keep them loving it until they get to high school, you know, they're going to be a good group, and there's a lot of them. So if we can keep them all in there, the program will just keep growing.
Yeah, Wendy Landis, thank you so much for being on this edition of
Thank
Coach's
you.
Corner.
Thank you.
Right. Well, don't forget, coming up on the 15th, Lake Ponca on the course. And Wendy, before I let you go, what time does the meet start on the 15th?
The boys will not start. It's like we do the JV and then the varsity and then the junior high. So the high schoolers aren't going to start running until roughly 3 to 3:30, and then the junior high aren't running until 5:30 or 6. We've delayed it a little bit to give more time in between races to keep the finish line and start lines clear for COVID practicing. And so we've added a little bit more time between each race. So it pushed things back just a little bit. But, you know, if they're out there by 2:30 or 3, they'll get a good spot to stand and watch some good running.
All right, sounds great. Wendy
Thank you.
Landis, the head coach of the Pohai cross country team.
Thank
That's
you.
going to do it. Thank you. That's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. Big thanks to Coach Scott Harmon on our earlier segment of Coach's Corner. And until next time, I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.